Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we have Claire McCaskill, the senator from the state of Missouri, who ran against Todd Aiken in the year 2012 and won for re-election, versus, of course, the incumbent president, Donald Trump. So this is going to be somewhat of an interesting matchup. I mean, Claire McCaskill could be labeled as a conservative Democrat. I would consider her one of those, but really, I don't think she's holding on to the people of Missouri the same way she used to before the 2016 general election. Her approval rating was nearing 50% or higher, and now it's down to 42%. She's one of the 10 most unpopular senators in the United States. So we're just going to go through this map now. So the safe Democratic states, of course, the Western Coast, and safe Republican states, including her home state, would be safe Republican. Her approval rating is not high enough to her approval rating is, I think it's around the same level as President Trump's, but remember, this has a solid Republican identity, and unless there was someone like Paul Ryan who really would turn off a lot of these Trump voters, I think his base would stay and hold on to that state, even with her coming from that home state. She could make it somewhat competitive within 10%, but overall, I do think Trump would be able to carry the state, and yeah, so going through the map, safe Democratic states, the Northeast, of course, New Hampshire, not going to go to just yet, and pretty much filling these out. So this was a highly suggested video I should do, so I decided to do it. And Maine, of course, one electoral vote would go to President Trump. So right now, the safe Democratic and safe Republican states, I've pretty much filled in at this moment. The ones that I think would be competitive are the ones that I left in gray. So right now, Claire McCaskill leads at 190 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 165, and we're just going to keep going through it. So Iowa and Ohio, although Claire McCaskill is from Missouri, and she would be able to have more of an appeal to Iowan voters and people around this area, I think that it would hold on to its Republican identity and stay in the Trump column. Along with the state of Ohio, I don't see it flipping for any non-establishment or moderate Democrats or conservative Democrats. Although she may be a conservative Dem, she won't really have that grasp on the white working class, which is something I'm going to talk to in just a second. And the state of Virginia, I think it would hold on to its Democratic identity. It's been trending more Democratic every election year, and I think it would go to Claire McCaskill. And the state of New Hampshire, Donald Trump spoke a lot about New Hampshire, which really hurt his approval ratings there. They've dropped drastically from 45% to somewhere in the 30s, so I think that one would stay in the Democratic column. In Georgia and Arizona, we always talk about them, but history tells us they're going to stay red unless someone super inspiring comes into the works and actually wins that state. So these are pretty much the ones that I think will be within 3% or less. So Nevada, Colorado, North Carolina, Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Let's be honest here, Colorado's probably going to stay blue. I think it would stay blue by a small margin, but the rest of these are true toss-ups. These will be 2% or less. I think Colorado could be 3 or 4%. But Nevada, that one's going to be super close. The Rust Belt, of course, will be super close. Minnesota would become competitive. North Carolina, I think that one would actually go to President Trump with over maybe 2%, because I don't think Claire McCaskill can really take over those independent voters, and all those, a lot of the far-left Democrats won't come out to vote for her the same way they didn't for Hillary Clinton, and I think that Trump would hold on to the state of North Carolina. Florida, that one also, the older vote there, all the people, the senior citizens, I think they would hold on to their values and vote for the Republican candidate. Although climate change is going to be a top front issue, I don't think Claire McCaskill is going to be the one to lead that. I think that will be a top issue of the 2020 Democratic primary, and I don't think Claire McCaskill is good for that issue. The people of Missouri don't really like her the way they should. Roy Blunt's approval rating is like a percentage more, and he's a Republican, so I guess it's understandable that both of them have low approval ratings, considering it is Missouri. It's a very partisan state, but personally, I don't think if she doesn't carry her home state, even though it is a solid Republican area, if she won't make it competitive, I don't think the rest of the United States is going to be really competitive. Bill Clinton came from the state of Arkansas, which was somewhat of a Democratic stronghold during his presidential term, but then in 2000 it turned back to its Republican values, and so far has been a solid Republican state. For a blue dog candidate to actually be a good candidate, they would actually need to flip their home state, regardless of its identity before. But we're just not going to talk about that anymore. We're just going to go to the rest of the states. So Nevada, Donald Trump was leading there on Election Day in 2016. It really depends on where they're turning towards. After a lot of those terror attacks, I think they actually could land in the Trump column just for in this scenario. But in a state like Michigan, I think the state of Michigan would flip narrowly to Claire McCaskill. My reasoning behind it is I don't think that Donald Trump will be able to hold on to that state with his low approval rating, and I think Claire McCaskill will pick up that state and flip it from the Trump column. Same thing with the state of Minnesota. I think not flip, but I think she could hold on to the state of Minnesota in the Democratic column because I think that Claire McCaskill will be able to appeal to a lot of those voters, and really her policies are more outlined as a conservative Democrat, but I think that a lot of those, the two senators, Amy Klobuchar and what was his name? I forgot his name, but he's very prominent. Al Franken. I think they would come out and campaign for Claire McCaskill. And Donald Trump's approval rating is not so high there, so I'm not so sure about it staying. But the state of Wisconsin and the state of Pennsylvania, I think those would stay with the president. The reasoning behind it is, although his approval ratings are really low here, I think the white working class would give him a chance against Claire McCaskill. Claire McCaskill won't be able to really take back all of those voters, and she is a conservative Democrat, but you still make the left side of the Democratic Party angry. You still make those Bernie voters who want to go out for vote for another candidate, and I think that's what's going to hurt Claire McCaskill in a general election. So this is my final electoral map. 242 for Claire McCaskill versus 296 for President Trump. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you all tomorrow.